Most traders drown in charts and still miss the real levels. Get clear daily roadmaps for the S&P 500 futures. Levels, setups, and strategies that matter. Delivered straight to your inbox pre-market every morning. Subscribe now on Substack. Conquer the markets.
What is up, everybody? We are back. All right. So here's the deal. Today was crazy. I mean, just the S&P was going ham today. That thing was like a missile straight up today and was just slaying shorts left and right. So we're going to go over the plan and we're going to talk about a few things. But first and foremost, I wanted to announce the winner of our 50K prop firm giveaway. So that's first and foremost. And that is All Capital Management. Darren at All Capital Management, congratulations. You have won the prop firm evaluation. I will send you an email this evening. I just need you to reply and confirm that you got that. So I know I'm not sending it to a dead email. So that would be great. So guys, first and foremost, we're doing prop firm giveaways every single day this week. So make sure you go to Twitter or Substack. And the links are in there. All you have to do is put your email in and subscribe. You can subscribe for one, subscribe for both. I'm giving away the trade plans for 30 days. We talk stock, crypto, and the S&P, all bangers. So much good stuff. And I got a lot of stuff on the plate today that we're going to talk about. So with that being said, here is the address. So my @ symbol or my name here is Ryan Bailey Edge. It is the same across YouTube, Twitter, Substack, everything. So that is what you need to go to. The links are in there. Just make sure you fill it out and you will be in the runnings for tomorrow. Okay. So that's what's up. All right. So now let's talk about the S&P. All right. First and foremost, the thing was crazy, right? So, we are slowly inching higher and higher as we get to our higher target. I have been talking about for 2 weeks, and even on Twitter, I post about it constantly, about our high time frame target. And let's just pull this up. Let's get into it right now. So this is something that I even talked about yesterday. We have a weekly bullish imbalance that was taking us up to 69.50. We have been inching our way up every single day. And what's wild is they actually did a whole week's range in the past 2 days. Okay, so just an astronomical push. We haven't touched support for quite some time, so it was quite amazing to see this happen today. They were just decimating shorts as they continue to squeeze up here. Okay, so that's a big deal. We're getting very close to our higher end target. We talked about this yesterday. There's also, the JP Morgan collar is up here around 69.50. And so we'll see what happens when we get there. But I have to tell you, I'm starting to feel like we're getting to the top of this range. Okay, SPX actually only got to 69.11, and it can still go a little higher. I mean, see, we didn't quite get here. We had a huge call wall that I posted this morning in the trade plan, and a huge call wall at 41. We kind of poked through it at the end of the day and faded. Okay, and so we're going to go through a few setups. We're going to go through the trade plan, and then we're going to talk about kind of what I think is the deal here and what we should be looking at. Okay, so first and foremost, I'm going to drag the trade plan over so that we can just, I just want to show how we get everybody right on track. So this is the trade plan that comes out Tuesday through Friday. It looks very similar on Sunday that I let everybody read. This is for the paid subs here. We put out the options vol levels, and then we have, the gamma levels, and then obviously I post pictures of charts. But the first and foremost, the thing that, people are talking about, man, this is going too far. Listen, it doesn't matter how far you think it can go. It's always going to go higher. I mean, it can go higher. The market is always right. We are not right. The market is. Okay. So first and foremost, we had that news, the China news, and boom, they popped it up, right? So there's no longer any tariffs on November 1st. Life's good. We gap open on Monday. And then today they also announced that they're going to reduce the shipping fees at the port for China and U.S. shipping boats. So they love that too. So buy it up. Why not? Right. So we started right at the day here. This was my, before we came out, this is what I put out for everybody. And, one of the things that you guys got to keep in mind, and this is very, very important, guys. When we have low volume days, we have to defer to trend. Okay. They generally mean that we're going to grind up. It's going to be very slow price action, and it's just grindy all day long, as we saw today, right? So this was right out the gate. We're talking about we are currently seeing very low relative volume at negative 46%. We discussed this. When volume is low, we defer to trend, and we're more than likely going to grind into that direction. The structure is extremely bullish, and we're still trying to get to 69.50. Well, it was only 30 points away earlier. We got super duper close. We went to 69.44, so we missed it by 6 points, and we could still go a little higher. It is possible. But with that being said, it's possible. So, we're getting right at the cusp of things here, and I'm going to talk about that too. I started posting some stuff on Twitter about it today, and I'm just starting to feel like, okay, maybe this movie is getting a little high. Now, don't forget, we've got FOMC tomorrow, big rate announcement tomorrow. We know they're going to cut rates. The important part is it's not about the rate cut. It's what he's going to say after they cut the rates. Are they going to be hawkish or are they going to be dovish? Is he going to say, oh, we got some concerns because jobs, et cetera? This could cause some turbulence in the market. Generally they don't cut rates because everything's hunky-dory. I mean, right now, this market is just ridiculous. And, people are having a hard time grasping, like, why would you cut rates at all-time highs, et cetera? And, I feel the same way. But at the end of the day, they're doing it because, everyone needs cheaper money, basically, because the whole world, including the United States especially, lives on credit, and our government lives on credit. So with that being said, they really need to bring the rates down, and it will help jobs out a little bit. It'll help a lot of things as businesses can borrow at cheaper rates. But the real important cues here tomorrow is going to be what he says after they cut rates, okay? So now that we got that out of the way, let's just talk about our trade plan. So our trade plan, we had a fantastic trade here. Right off the gate, the very first thing that we were talking about today was our very first support here was the 07. This was the Globex gain setup. We had the very first key support. If we play this, we're going to go. And I took this trade myself. I got 10 points before it, came down. We got 2 cars. It was great. $1,000, bam, in and out. Took like 5 minutes. It was really, really fast the way it worked. And really what the key was here is 07 becomes the pivot. Okay, because once this thing plays and we get below it, the idea was for them to get above 16. See if the area plays a support, we have this valley, we can push over 16 and we make new highs, or we sweep the overnight low. Well, lo and behold, they actually came for the overnight low and missed it, which was super interesting. And let's just talk about that real fast. So this was something I put out in the room today. As you can see, this 07 is what we played, and I let the room be known. A move below 07 will act as a great pivot for us for more up and down if they sweep. Well, this was how the price looked when I posted this. And then obviously this is what happened. We came down, we basically held the lows. They didn't quite make the overnight low. Once they got back above this triggered a super bullish response. And we basically just ground up the entire day. It was just an insane squeeze for the rest of the day. So that was pretty impressive. I have to be honest with you. So that was a big deal for sure. We've talked about this high time frame target multiple times. You can see right here on this chart, we're getting super close, guys. I've pointed this out a couple of times. I think this is important. And, this kind of is going to go into the other things that I'm talking about here as well. So, we're starting to get into our weekly range, and that's coming in the next conversation. Okay. And the reason that that's coming up is one of the other trades that I want to throw out here real fast, just so that we understand how, you guys understand how this works. A lot of people get caught shorting on these crazy grind up moves. Okay. This is, it's hard to sit there through all of it and you're just bored and what have you. Well, I can tell you one thing for sure that the ES does almost every single time. If they have these ridiculous grind up moves where everybody's like, I just can't believe it. Can they possibly go any higher? They always wait till the end of the day. Okay. So as you saw at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I said, this thing's going to wait till the end of the day, literally. And they waited until MOC, which we call the murder algo. That's the market on close. And they basically dumped this thing. I don't know. It looks like about 22 points or something like that towards the end of the day. So this is a textbook trade that you guys should really keep in your kitty here when they do this grind up mode and you're looking to get short and they're like, wow, this is just crazy. Don't just jump out of the car. We're bullish. You're just day trading. You're looking for a little scalp. Wait till the end of the day. This is a perfect setup. And so, one of the ways that I actually trade this, and I'll just show you my 5-minute chart. So I was actually short in here trying to get down, and I ended up getting break even. I got like 5 points on one and break even on the other. The ideal, however, though, is once they pop the new high and they get below that previous low, then we fade. Right. So, and this was right at 350. This was, a perfect time. Well, it looks like it was about 335. Right towards the end of the day. So very close towards the end of the day. They always wait on these crazy grind moves. And then here was the reclaim of 07. As you can see, we swept it back above our 07 and continue to push up. So this was a great textbooks trade on both sides. And our room made out really nice on this stuff. All right. So that is, this is really the day in a nutshell. It was all up except for this last little part here. And we pretty much called everything to the tick and people got super paid. But really, what do we do now? What happens now? Because we gapped up 3 days in a row, right? We come down, we filled the gap. So what do we do now, right? And so let's talk about that, and what we think could happen. So right now, it's hard for me to be like, oh yeah, like let's get short, right? There's a lot of people that are short. They're getting slayed. It happens. We do have a few cues, however, that I want to point out to you guys that, in my opinion, are very important. Okay. I showed this. First off is the weekly bullish imbalance is almost met. So can we go higher? Yeah, I believe we can. Also, we have SPX over here, and that color is a little bit higher at 69.50. Okay, so by all means, this thing could go higher. It looks like about another 60 points, believe it or not, on SPX. But we never know exactly, or we don't know how they're going to get there. Maybe they get there with a flash, tomorrow, or maybe this is the high. We don't know. But that bullish imbalance, and those guys who trade with me know that those are pretty spot on. Both the dailies and the weekly bullish imbalances are good targets. Here's the other thing that I wanted to point out to you guys. So we talked about this chart yesterday. This is a yearly VWAP chart. We talked about how they're cruising up. This is the yearly VWAP. We normally would ride the 1 standard deviation when you're trending, but we're doing like way more than that, right? We're riding the 50-day moving average up here at 66.50 for the pops. And then we keep bumping our head on the 2nd standard deviation VWAP. Now, it doesn't mean that we're going to fall automatically, but I will say this, just from looking at the previous history, and we can go back in time and look at it as long as you want, they don't generally bump their head on this very much. Okay. And I know guys are like, oh, we've seen Bollinger Bands and they're all the way through, and the QQQ is all the way through the second one. Listen, I'm not going to say they can't go through. Okay. But what I'm telling you is once we get up to here, it's pretty cooked. Okay. And so for those of you who know how VWAP works, or maybe you don't, let's just kind of show you from a profile perspective. So everybody knows what a bell curve is, right? This is like a standard mathematical bell curve. You have your 1 deviation, your 2 deviations, etc. Well, basically the point of control on a profile would be your VWAP. That is your value. Okay. And then your one standard deviation on VWAP would be like your value area high or your value area low. And so when you push out to the 2 standard, you're all the way past value. Okay. So because I'm a value trader, I look at things in perspective of, is this a good deal or is this not a good deal? Right now, we are cooking. Okay. So if people are buying this right now, they're buying way out of value. Now, that doesn't mean that it can't continue to go higher. We've seen this 100 times over. So, this isn't a good reason just to get short. I'm just simply saying from a value perspective, you're buying the highs. You're buying the $100,000 Tesla, but if you wait 6 months, they're going to go on sale for 60,000. I think he did that to everybody. This is the same kind of thing. So, you just have to be, right now, just be aware of where we're at in the move. Be aware that we've met the bullish imbalance, which is generally a pretty good sign that we're up there. We also are in the second standard deviation of VWAP on the yearly chart, which is pretty insane. The other thing that I was monitoring today, and we talk about the VIX a lot in my trade plans. And actually, let's just go ahead and pull this over real quick because it's important for you guys to see this when we're moving forward into tomorrow. Okay, so one of the things that I always watch every day is VIX. Okay, and so we already know that this 1617 weekly is very important. I mean, look how many times this held down here. And another thing to keep in mind is every time the VIX gets down here in this $15, $16 range, we get a reaction. Okay, it's not brain surgery. It's just it's just low, and that generally correlates with all-time highs somewhere, et cetera, et cetera. And it just is. Okay, it's just how it works. All right. So as you can see here, let me get rid of this here. So here we go. So we talk about in the very beginning, I have a little VIX analysis, and the key weekly pivot is 1617, and the monthly at the high is 1735. So a push above 1617 would likely cause the ES to pull back, right? Well, guess what we're above right now? We started to push above this towards the end of the day, which is one reason why I was sniffing for the short. Okay, this was a big deal for me. I mean, I'm like, okay, here we go. We're above our main pivot. Let me start to look for weakness because as you can see, they popped up. This was literally our pullback in the middle of the afternoon. And then once they kind of found support here, this was the key that we should start to be a little bit more cautious. Now, VIX is naturally going to rise going into FOMC because volatility is increasing. So, are we going to get this major sell-off in the middle of the night? No, more than likely, we're going to base tomorrow somewhere around, the support area. Right now, we still have an untested 1-hour support here at 69.11, which I would probably be interested in buying. And we will probably sit in this area tomorrow until FOMC. But FOMC is going to be a kicker, right? Because we are like smoking high right now. It's pretty unbelievable. Here's the daily RTH chart. We are up here. We got 1, 2, and then we gapped up for a third and we pulled back. I mean, 3 gaps is pretty ridiculous. So, I guess that's what I'm telling you guys is do not think that it can't go higher because all the signs are pointing to, obviously we're very bullish and we have rate cuts tomorrow, but things right now are looking, in my opinion, they're a little cooked and we're starting to reach a lot of the markers for the upside move. Like I said, we even have met the weekly expected move. So kind of a big deal, guys, something to keep in mind. This is all important stuff to just kind of take into consideration and, think about essentially how you're going to play it tomorrow. Just be careful and be safe. I know I personally don't trade FOMC. I trade the morning, I trade up to it, and then I get the heck out of there. I get the worst FOMO because it's like, we're finally shaking and moving, and then, what are you going to do? So that is my take for the S&P as of right now. So with that being said, I've kind of filled you guys in on what I think is going to happen here and, how I would play it. I mean, I feel like we're getting a little toppy, so just be careful. If we start to bust down tomorrow, don't, just let it kind of play out. We need to let this shake out. And, I'm going to go ahead and pull over the 4-hour chart. I don't want to get too much into this, but just to show you guys what we're looking at here. I mean, we can come down 130 points, and we can come down 200 points and still be insanely bullish. Okay. Like I would love a pullback into this structure down here. I mean, 69.38 would be the shit, but I mean, at least down into 68.05 or 67.75, this general vicinity, and nothing changes, you guys, nothing. and this would be super healthy. We're going up on low volume. So, just let it do its thing. But, unless you want to short scalp and play the game, whatever, right now we haven't lost any support. Do I think we're lofty? Yeah. Do I think it could come down? Absolutely, I do. But it's hard to pick a top. I mean, at this point, you're just sniffing top, you're sniffing. So I have a feeling it's coming, but my recommendation to you and the way I'm going to play is I'm buying, right? So I'm going to trade in the morning. I'm going to let this play out. And then I'm not going to, more than likely won't trade it FOMC at all. And then the next day when things have kind of shaken out a little bit and the market's got the gyrations out, I'm gonna look for a place to grab along. And, you guys do what you got to do, but that is my personal recommendation. So with that being said, I wanted to transition into something else. So that is it for the S&P, and tomorrow's plan is going to be epic. So make sure you don't miss that. All you got to do is sign up for the 30-day free trade plan. Go to the Twitter. It's there, right? Just go to the link in the Twitter or the link in the Substack. Sign up. It's free. You'll have it in the morning. And then also sign up for the 50K prop firm giveaway. So congratulations to Darren for winning that. And I will send you the email. So the other thing that you guys are going to like, this is pretty slick actually. All right. So we talked about gold yesterday. So I've got a guy in the room who basically, he's a great trader. His name's TML. He is not scared to take a trade, and he loves my analysis. And I love him for loving my analysis. And so with that being said, I mean, this guy, it will dig deep on a trade for all the time for sure. And so, I very much respect that. So I want to show you guys something. We talked about gold yesterday. We talked about gold spots to buy. And if you recall, I had both GLD pulled up and the futures. Well, they came down here yesterday. We were about right here yesterday. We came down last night in the middle of the night. It's about 5 a.m. And we played our spot. We played 3,900. That was the spot we talked about buying, and he grabbed it. And this guy is a Substack subscriber. He's actually part of the Inner Circle crew, so he gets Discord access as well. And I'll just show you. I mean, I'm proud of this guy, and I'm tooting my horn for this guy. And he saw this in the video and he took it. Boom, 15K by 7 a.m. He crushed it. And so, these are the kind of things that we're putting out. This is the kind of stuff that works. And check the process, check what we do. I call a lot of stuff out. Check the Twitter, look at it. If you're in the, if you want to check out the Substack and come to the Discord room, part of the Inner Circle, I'm happy to let you in. We absolutely crush it in there. And we got some guys that are doing awesome work in there. So that was a big deal to me. I was really happy to see him profit from that. He saw us talk about it in the trade plan and in the breakdown, and he took the trade. So God bless him, right? Good stuff. All right. So with that being said, we have had a bunch of stocks, you guys, that have gone crazy. We've had Intel that we bought at $22. We bought Texas Instruments, or not Texas Instruments. We bought Tractor Supply Company. We bought Snow, and we bought NVIDIA. And, these are all these stocks are just going bananas. They're all playing out really, really well right now. NVIDIA actually played our weekly here. I've been posting about this one on Twitter. And USO was the other one, crude oil. So now I'm going to give you guys a little heads up. I promised you guys some stocks that I was looking at. So I'm going to give you one that has the potential to be a super duper banger. And we already started buying into this in the room. I put this out in the Substack, I don't know, probably 2 weeks ago. And so this has been a good one. This is Phi. This is Fiserv. They're a monster company. They basically take care of if you use Zelle on your phone and that type of stuff, they essentially facilitate all those transactions. They also have a point of sale system like Square, et cetera, so on and so forth. I think this company has what it takes to be a monster as far as a return wise. Right now, this company's way, way down in the dirt. Analysts are talking about between $166 to $186. From right now, from where we were looking at, let's see, we're talking about if it goes to, let's say 186, it's 58%. And the other one is 31%. So fantastic. So just to kind of show you what I'm looking at here, they actually have earnings tomorrow. Okay. So they have earnings tomorrow. And so this should be super interesting, but I love this area. And we started buying into this about 119, 120 bucks. And there is actually a lower area that it can come to down here at the 113, 114 spot. I'm not telling you guys to like jump in this today, but certainly keep an eye on this stock. I think this is going to be a great long-term trade. This company makes money every single quarter. They've done some new acquisitions. They've got a lot of good stuff behind them, and all their customers basically they have like a two-pronged business. They run the point of sale system like Toast and Square and all that, but then they actually do the facilitation of the transactions for companies like financial institutions. So that's not going away. All right. And so they have like this two-pronged money-making method over here. So I am all about this. I would obviously love to dig deep down in here in this lower 113 range, but you never know. Okay. So as you can see, this red monthly right here, and I'll show you, this red monthly has kind of been a big deal for me. And then ultimately I'm using this swing pivot here as a trigger to get above. Once we get above that, I know this thing's gold, and you can see we got rejected from it quite nice today. So right now the 119's been, working for us pretty well. I trimmed a little bit here. So if we pull back, I got some money to play with this, but I think this is a great stock for you guys. And I think it's really going to be a good one. So certainly keep an eye on that. And how much time do we have? We got 3 minutes left. Okay. I'm going to give you one more. Okay. Now I know this is crazy. You're going to look at this, and I didn't plan on any of this, by the way. I'm just kind of free balling here. So, don't be too upset with my charts. They're not pretty. So Chipotle, me and my boy Zoog been in Chipotle forever. And Chipotle, actually, this was like $3,000 stock at one time. We used to joke around. This was the $3,000 burrito, yada, yada, yada. Okay. Now Chipotle makes money too. And, right now, money's tight. So people are having a hard time, eating out, et cetera. But this company also makes money, and they're not heavy in the debt load. They actually clear 15% margin on their money. And we are right in this massive leg here. We got a lot of support here. We played this monthly almost perfect. We actually just missed it. So it's interesting. And I'm going to show you kind of what I'm looking at here. So those of you guys, if you don't understand my color coding, please go to the Substack. It's the very first, the link is in my bio on Twitter. It's the very first post. I have it pinned. You can see exactly what all these colors mean. But essentially, this was a monthly level that we played to the tick, and we got rejected. Okay, so right now we have 2 more monthlies lower. This is actually the first one that I wanted to buy, the 38 bucks. And then we have one lower at 36, and it still holds the leg, as you can see here. Okay, this actually would be awesome at 36. So we've got this rejection right now, which leads me to believe that we're going to come sweep the low. You never know. It's earnings. So, they can do a lot of crazy shit. And so we'll see how it plays out. But this is the other one that I really like. We've put this out there. I don't know. This must be about a month old in the Substack, maybe 3 weeks. Me and Zug have already made a lot of money on this stock. We've been in it from here. We wrote it up and rebought and got back in. And so I am looking to play this probably for the 3rd time now if we come down. Again, like I said, tomorrow's earnings. So we'll see what happens. And I'm essentially going to leave it there with that. I've given you guys 2 great stocks. I showed you what happens when we show you guys stuff, as far as, TML. He crushed it on the gold trade. Absolutely crushed it. I missed it. I was salty as hell. I'm not going to lie. I was all butthurt about it. I'm like, man, I always play this shit in the middle of the night when I'm not awake. But he was up. He's got a baby. He made it happen. He listened to the plan, and he made it work. And so I hope you guys do the same thing. The trade plan will be out in the morning. Don't forget to like and subscribe on Substack, Twitter, YouTube, all that jazz. My name is the same, Ryan Bailey Edge, on all of them. And sign up for the freebies. I'm giving it away. I mean, you might as well take it. It's free. You got nothing to lose. And so I hope you guys enjoyed the talk about the S&P. And tomorrow I'll have some more goodies for you. Have an excellent, excellent night, and we'll see you tomorrow.